What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and this is Playing with Cars. In the last video I told you guys a little bit about myself and talked about what you could look forward to in the upcoming months on the channel, some of the shows I'll be attending and some exciting stuff to come. But today I'm going to be introducing you to my 2011 Mustang GT. So when I bought this car, my intention for it was to be a drag car. Not just a drag car though, I wanted something that I could drive around on the streets, take to local shows, not plan on winning any of the shows, but I definitely wanted something that I could drive and enjoy to the extent that you can enjoy a drag car on the road. Now, if you guys are familiar with drag cars, you know the stiff suspension and the soft tires and the loud noises and everything that comes with owning a drag car makes it not the easiest thing to drive on the road. This one's not there yet. It's only got a little bit of work done to it. Nothing too terribly crazy. I don't drive around on the radials, so I don't have to worry about rain or any of that. It handles the rain just fine. But it's got its quirks and features, as Doug DeMuro would say. So I've owned this car for about 5 months now. I picked it up in September 2019 and I actually drove down to Louisiana to pick it up. It was quite the experience, to say the least. I drove, I think it was 5-6 hours maybe to pick this thing up, but I got it for a good deal. I'll talk a little bit about what's done to it, some of the plans that I have for it going forward, and I'll even show you some of it along the way. So when I bought this car, one of the first things that I did to it was put a brand new set of tires on all 4 corners of the stock wheels. Now I know a lot of people like to change their wheels to something aftermarket, but seeing as how it's a drag car, I didn't need anything too terribly fancy to be between the car and the road. I just needed something that would do the job. So I got Firestone Firehawk Indy 500 tires. They are a square 255/45/19, which is the stock size wheel on the car, and they do pretty good. It's not my daily driver, so I don't have much experience with it, but in the rain I don't have any problems with hydroplaning or any kind of issues there. It's not the most powerful car in the world, so I don't have any traction issues or anything like that. They do exactly what I needed them to do for regular road tires. So the next thing I did to my car is actually in the front and the back of the car, but you can't see the front too well because it's covered by the engine. I did an entire long tube header system with the full exhaust all the way to the back of the car out the mufflers. Now this is what's referred to as the Patriot series from long tube headers. You guys have heard this in the first video upon the startup, but I have to do the over axle pipes to complete the full system, and then I'll have a full kit front to back, all LTH. So I'm a car guy, I'm not crazy. I know I can't talk about an exhaust without, of course, starting it up for you guys. So let's go ahead and do that now. So you guys already heard that in my first video when I used my startup as an opening scene for my introduction video that I did. I'll have a link to that at the end of this video, just in case you haven't seen it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to hop in, take it for a drive, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I got on the car. Alright guys, so we're heading out on the road here, and I want to start off by saying that the majority of the modifications that are on the car already were performed by the previous owner. I wanted to buy a car that had some good stuff done to it already, so that's just less money out of my pocket that I have to put into it then. So we'll start with the motor, which is the biggest thing. This car actually has a Gen 2 Coyote motor installed from Ford. The previous owner blew up the old Gen 1 motor, so they replaced it with a Gen 2. Everything was installed by Ford. It's all Ford work. It's also got ARP head studs, billet OPG and crank sprocket. It's got all new timing gear and everything like that, so it's essentially a brand new motor. That was a big factor when I was looking at purchasing this car, because Now I know it's not a 2011 Mustang GT with 103,000 miles on it that was beat on it its whole life. It's got a brand new motor in it, so that was a big plus. On top of that, it's got a Boss 302 intake manifold. It's got a JLT Series 2 intake. It's got 42-pound injectors, and it's also got a Siley dual pump fuel system, which allows it to run E85 as well. I do have a Lund tune. I had Lund tune my Shelby as well, so I was definitely going to go with them again. That was something that I purchased for this car, but it is capable of running 93 or E85 at this time. I went with the flex fuel tune that they offer, and it runs real good. You guys can hear it now. I'm driving it. Goes good. That's pretty much the major work that I have done to the motor. The bigger things that are done to the car actually come in the suspension, which was a big bonus for me because the suspension, although it's not terribly expensive, there's a whole lot of pieces. So when you're buying 5, 6, 7 things that each cost like 80 to 120 bucks each, that's going to add up real fast. So this car has BMR lower control arms. It has BMR upper control arms. I believe the uppers are adjustable if I'm not mistaken. It's got a BMR sway bar on it. It's got a BMR Extreme anti-roll kit. It's got Viking, I think they're Viking Warrior shocks. It could be the Crusaders, but I believe the Crusaders are the bigger ones that have the adjustability to it. I don't think that those are these. I could be wrong, and I just don't know what's on my own car. It happens. But it's got a BMR tubular K-member up front. It does have the quarter-inch motor mounts, the quarter-inch lowered motor mounts, which I'm glad it had because it was necessary to install the LTH headers in the car, so that would have been a big headache had that not been what I actually needed, so I'm glad about that. And then I've also got a one-piece aluminum drive shaft. It's not installed in the car yet. I need to put that on. I'm going to put that on the same time I do the over-axle pipes, but it'll have that soon. And then for the cosmetics, it doesn't have a lot of cosmetic stuff. It's got the aftermarket grille. It's got, I'm not sure the brand of the chin spoiler on it. And then it's got a GT500 rear wing and RTR Decklid. But that about rounds it out. Like I said, there's nothing terribly crazy on it. It's just a basic bolt-on. I guess technically it's a full bolt-on, right? Headers, intake manifold, injectors. Yeah, it's basically just a full bolt-on, naturally aspirated 2011 Mustang. Now, as you saw earlier, it is an automatic. It's the 6R80. I knew I was going to be drag racing in the car, so I wanted the auto, which would allow me to be more consistent in my times. It'd be easier. I wouldn't have to worry about the MT82 problems that these came with. You got the second gear lockout, or the high rev lockout, whichever, probably with both. But I don't have to worry about clutches. I don't have to worry about me not being a good enough driver and missing a gear or shifting incorrectly or anything like that. So it was just easier to go with the automatic. It's comfortable on the road. It does exactly what I needed to do, and it does it fine. So some plans that I have in the future, I definitely want to do some stuff in here in the interior. I'm looking at getting some kind of seat that has the slots for the harness that goes through, and then I'll get the harness. I'll probably just get a bolt-in roll bar that goes behind the seats that I can hook the harnesses up to. I don't need a full cage. I'm not going fast at any point. I mean, I will eventually, hopefully, but right now it's not a major concern of mine. I would really like to pick up some factory Recaros from these Mustangs, the S19, well, any Mustang really. They are just so expensive. It's ridiculous. They are a gorgeous seat. I know they're comfortable, but wow, I think they're running like $2,000 for a set. So that's a bit out of budget, I'll tell you that right now. But that about rounds out the modifications that I have on my car currently. I do have some plans for it in the future. At some point I'll be going some kind of forced induction, be it a turbo, supercharger, something. I love when people pull out in front of me. Anyway, so I do have one more modification on the car that I need to show you guys, but I'm going to show you that back at the house because I actually need to install it. So I'll see you guys there. modification that I have purchased for this car. Set of Forgestar F14 15x10s with a Mickey Thompson 275/60/15 ET Street R. So these are the wheels that I'll put on the car when I go drag racing. Obviously it just gives me a bit more of a advantage there with the grip sidewall. Small wheel, obviously they weigh less than the factory wheels. This head doesn't have a center cap in yet. I just haven't put it in because I haven't actually run these yet. I bought them after last season just to get ready, so haven't used them yet. But there you go. That's the last modification that I have on this car. So that was an overview of my 2011 Mustang GT. You guys will be seeing a lot more of this car on the channel as we go drag racing because the season's getting ready to start. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, you can share the video with your friends, and don't forget to keep playing with cars.